You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth, the show that detects, exposes, and reveals actual and hidden facts, truth, research, and statistics about all the Detroit and Michigan sports teams that the mainstream media doesn't want you to know, whether fans like it or not. No junk, no entertainment, no homerism, no coddling, no pop culture, no opinions, no shilling, and no fluff. Head over to our website at michigansportstruth.weebly.com, follow us on Twitter at Michigan_truth, and like our Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth. Also listen to us on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes. The Michigan Sports Truth podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them.
I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips personally. Also on Periscope at DT2Phillips personally. In this episode, that said, I provide an analogy on why a rally object of any kind is not necessary for any team in any sport of any level when that team has a losing mentality, whether it's trying to rebuild or just playing so badly that your record shows it.
You are pathetic!
The newest example would be the 2018 Detroit Tigers.
That one is long gone!
They have their rally goose right now when they have a losing record and season, and their record is below the 500 mark. They're 40-51 at the moment and still in third place in the American League Comedy Central Division, and they're already planning on selling prior to the non-waiver trade deadline. For example, they're shopping Michael Fulmer. They might be shopping Shane Green, their bad closer, by the way. He's already blown 4 saves. But the main point of this topic is when your team keeps finding ways to lose, is projected to have a losing record, and has an inept owner, front office, coaching staff, and roster, then your rally object of any sort from fans, media, public relations, or employees from within the team or organization just isn't going to be good enough to work. Whether it's a rally goose based on some flying goose running into the scoreboard in right center field from this year earlier, a tie worn by a public figure such as Joel Myers back in 2001, who was a play-by-play fill-in for Josh Lewin on Fox Sports Detroit, or Fox Sports Net Detroit, that was what it was called back then, or some rally bubblegum started to be chewed by a then-losing pitcher in Nate Robertson from 2006, even though the Tigers made it to the World Series last year, but still lost in 5 games to the St. Louis Cardinals. Any rally object is only a distraction and only a delusion, especially when your team's offense can't score runs, goals, or points at all. This season thus far, for example, the Tigers have only averaged 4 runs scored per game, which is putrid. Yes, there are some games when they score more than that amount, like they beat the Rangers 7-2. They score all 7 runs in the first inning. But the general thing is that the Tigers' offense is just bad enough to leave their starting pitchers with more losses and no decisions in many ways. It's also bad enough to keep the entire team under the 500 mark, which is never enough to make the MLB postseason. So if you figure this out, your rally goose isn't good enough, which is a narrative or rhetoric that you, the fans out there that want your team to win, to either win or play great baseball, only care about, then it's not exactly necessary to use it to fire up your team. Just let the Tigers play the season out on their own. You can still root for your team to win, which is only your prerogative. But using a rally goose as only something to make light of something and fire up your team's offense just isn't good enough. It's too delusional. It's too stupid. It's too stupid.
You're stupid.
it's making you sound stupid.
You stupid.
That you don't even that you sound like an idiot. You sound like an idiot. If you only care about your narratives and rhetorics about a rally, about just some dumb goose that ran into a scoreboard, and the Tigers tried to at least try to manufacture runs because of that. That's just silly, stupid, and just delusional, and not necessary. Your team is still bad. They are on pace for around 100 games. 100 losses, rather. Your team is on pace to lose about 100 games. They were projected by USA Today to finish 63-99. 63-99, second worst in the majors and the worst in the AL. And water is already finding its water, even though the Tigers have taken have taken two of the first three games against the Texas Rangers. So the Tigers have beaten a couple mediocre teams twice each as of late, but they're still not good enough to beat the elite teams such as the Yankees, Red Sox, Astros, or even the red-hot teams such as the Athletics or the Cubs. They have to play the St. Louis Cardinals, too, and they can't beat them. The Cardinals are another great team, if not elite. So, there you go. Your rally goose is just not good enough. It's not going to cut it. Sorry. That's the talking points. That's my talking point for tonight. And before I sign off, I want to remind everyone to share this episode and the entire podcast on social media and have their friends share that as well, because I want to tell them that the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast is searching for a wider online audience that is fans of sports. So please spread the word about the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts via iTunes, its Facebook page, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, and its Twitter handle at Michigan_Truth. I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me personally on Twitter at DT2Phillips, also on Periscope. Thanks very much for listening, downloading, and sharing. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
The Michigan Sports Truth Podcast does not represent or defame any of the teams it covers. It only detects, exposes, and reveals honest, actual, and hidden truth, facts, and statistics about them.
Mission complete.